Coming to you from the studios at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, it's the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Rock and roll Chicago, rock and roll Chicago, my hometown. Well, I was born in the city, gonna rock the city, Chicago. Chicago rock and rollers are the best here out around.
Hey everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Hollywood. How you doing?
Hollywood.
Yeah. Why does it feel like we have been out of the studio for a while?
Maybe because we have
Hasn't been that long, has it?
2 weeks.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. It's not like the 3 months we were off last year.
When the roof came in. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, but now we're back at it.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Yeah, we got new cameras in the studio now.
Yeah, new cameras.
Not working yet, but pretty soon we're going to be on YouTube. You get to see our ugly mugs.
Wow. Uh-oh. People might stop listening.
They might.
The 3 people might not tune in anymore.
That's right. Or we'll have 2 new hosts.
Yeah. Oh, that could be it.
Yeah.
Well, Milli Vanilli.
That's true.
Yeah.
We could do that.
Yeah.
So tonight we got a whole house full of cowboy hats.
That's right. Ray didn't get the memo.
I didn't get the memo. Yeah.
I wish we had the cameras for this one because you could see 4 guys walked in wearing cowboy hats.
Exactly.
You know, I always have one on.
I know
But you always have a hat too.
I do, and I don't know why I didn't bring it.
Oh, I don't know either. I don't know. You see, the one time would have fit perfectly. Yeah, we got.
It's not like everybody
Stetsons.
comes in with baseball caps.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know. But
We got Stetsons and Resistals and stuff
That's
like
right.
that. That's pretty sad when I can tell what they are just by looking at them.
Yeah,
I was pretty sure that was pretty sure that was a Resistol hat.
Yeah, it was a
wearing on your
Resistol
head.
hooey.
There you go. Yeah,
Yep.
wow.
I knew.
I think when you came in was a Matoyer, wasn't it?
A who?
A Matoyer?
Oh, the one that I came in with it? Yeah, absolutely
Yeah,
was.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. You know,
Handmade.
I didn't actually, kill the animal and make the felt, but I shaped it.
You will someday.
I could. Yeah,
You will.
I could. Yeah.
Possum or something.
Yeah, I go out
Possums
there.
are ugly.
Go out there all by myself, all alone.
Plenty of those in the backyard for you to go out and get.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So who's here?
We got the Rangers.
The Rangers are here. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for having us, y'all.
It's that one right there. Yeah, I'll tell you. All the guys
all
show
those
up. It's with dudes in the audience all the time.
Oh, it's not just a bunch of guys, no chicks.
Yeah. So how you guys doing?
Doing very, very good.
Doing good.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go around the table.
That was
We're gonna
good.
do the-
Just as he says good, he pulls the microphone.
Yeah,
from
he
him.
did.
We're brothers. This is how it goes.
All right. Well, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and start because we're going to go around the table and do the kindergarten introductions.
Right on. My name's Dan Abel. I am the youngest brother of 3. I asked it like it's a question, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you, Dan? Are you?
I think so.
Yeah.
Today, I am.
He was doubting whether or not he was an actual brother. is
Yeah,
what
I
it
know.
is.
Yeah.
No, but I'm the youngest of 3 brothers. Our middle brother's not in the band, but I play the lead guitar,
Okay.
and I do the backup vocals and starting to do a little bit more lead vocals and stuff. So
Gotcha.
write songs and all that fun stuff.
Okay. All right. Yeah. He's the youngest. He's definitely adopted, right?
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
All right, y'all. My name is Mike Abel. I do the lead vocals and the rhythm guitar in the band, the acoustic stuff. So doing typical frontman stuff, also writing songs. And then, Dan and I started the band a long time ago. I'm the oldest brother of 3.
All right.
So we kind of started doing this, a while ago. So yeah, that's my role in the band. And now on to our drummer.
I'm George Rojkopoulos. I play the drums, so I don't really talk. So
And that's by design.
And then
Yeah, you ever see what happens when you give a drummer a microphone?
Yeah, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, somebody ends up needing bail money by the end of the night.
That's right.
and I didn't bring it. Well, hey, I'm Colin. My last name is Joseph, and I am the Rangers fiddle player.
The Rangers fiddle player.
Yeah.
He's a
Man,
damn good one too. So
fiddle. Have I ever seen you do that?
I brought my fiddle to the studio one time.
Yes. Yeah.
And then everyone kind of despised it, so I never brought it back.
it means you ain't in the right place if you're despising the fiddle.
Yeah. 'Cause I usually come with my sax, with friends from Joliet Junior College and
Yeah, right.
the jazz program there, and I play sax too, so. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's what you showed over. So in case you guys haven't figured it out, I've known Colin for a couple years now.
I figured that out.
Yeah, he used to show up to the studio and
Did you like
participate
his
in the
fiddle?
jam and everything. I don't remember his fiddle. It couldn't have been that memorable.
I've got a lot better since then.
No,
Have we had any fiddles in here before?
I can't think of any other band that had a fiddle.
We had an accordionist.
We did, and we had a simulated glockenspiel.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get one of those in the band. Dude.
No, I've been looking.
Glockenspiel.
That's what I want. I want to
We've
rock and roll glockenspiel.
Yeah.
We've been looking for a band that actually has a glockenspiel, not a simulated one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Colin, you're gonna have to pick that up now. And now Colin Joseph will be a simulated glockenspiel.
Yeah. Next album.
Yeah.
No, I actually do seem to remember you bringing it, but yeah, you're right. It didn't last very long because I think it was on a night where we had a bunch of blues players, and you were up there with a fiddle, and the blues players was like, "Sit your ass down, boy."
If I had my distortion pedal, maybe a little bit different, but
Right. So you said it's been a while. When did this whole thing come together for you guys?
Oh, let's see. Well, I guess not in the grand scheme of things, but Dan and I started this band in what, 2021. Yeah.
Officially 2021. That was when our first album came out. Mike and I have been playing since around 2018, but we didn't really start writing songs until 2019. Go through the phase of crappy country songs that are cheesy and you'd never want anybody to hear.
You've got to go through writing some kind of bad stuff before you can get to decent stuff, and you got to kind of learn how things go. So 2021 was when we officially started the band, and our first album, The Bayou, is real swampy. It's real voodoo type Cajun music, and it's all started off as instrumentals. So we had a bunch of just instrumental demos and just ideas of just Dan and I jamming in our bedroom, and it was really cool stuff. It was kind of fun for us. We always wanted to do original stuff. We didn't want to we would play other people's songs. It's kind of how we learned, but we always wanted to do our own thing, and so that was cool for us to be able to have these instrumental demos. And then we just decided, hey, why don't we write some lyrics to these? And so that's how The Bayou came about, and that was 2021, and we pretty much have done an album every year since, and have kind of went from there. So
right. So when you mentioned you have to write a few shitty ones before you come across a good one. Do you always finish a song though, no matter how shitty it is, or do you abandon it?
I feel like you don't know that it's bad until it's done. I feel like you sit there after it's done and you're like, oh my gosh, why did I put so much time into this? It's horrible.
Then you're not putting enough effort into writing bad songs, young man. Because when I write a shitty song, I know it's shitty halfway through. But I will finish it though. That's
yeah. Actually, I think the way it works sometimes is you start working on one, and then what I don't ever want to do is I don't ever want to force lyrics when they're not coming naturally. You don't want to force it. So I have a bunch of songs that I think are good but are incomplete because I'm like, well, when I was sitting there writing the song, it was there, and then it was gone.
Right.
And so it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to sit here and try to force these lyrics through because then it becomes bad.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but that's most people.
Right.
Anybody that's a songwriter, I think they've got hundreds or thousands of unfinished stuff.
I've got a ton of stuff on my notes on my phone, just you go through, and it's
and sometimes you're saying you do sometimes finish writing those crappy songs you're never going to use, but sometimes you got one line in there that's that's a really good line, but it just the rest of the song is not nearly as strong as that line, so I'm going to take that and use it in something else,
Right. Or that becomes your hook, right?
Yes, exactly.
You can take that and use it to something else as well, yeah.
Yeah, right.
100%.
Or when you're thinking of something and you remember, 2 years ago, I remember writing this.
Right, so you go check for this, and you find it, and it's,
Yep.
You have a book at home where it's just lyrics?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ever go back and just for the hell of it, let me see what I wrote 3 years ago. Let me see what I wrote 4 years ago, or whenever the heck it was. And you look at yourself, my God, how immature was I, or how stupid was I?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Get rid of this.
In the age of technology and recording and everything, it's we have a lot of stuff on our phone, a lot of voice memos, a lot of stuff like that. So occasionally, after let's say just after we just did our most recent record, Cowboy in a Bottle, we just for the hell of it, after it was we feel real accomplished, it's done and everything, and then. We're like, let's go back and listen to the old stuff just because, and it's wow, it's kind of cool. It's you look at it and you're like, wow, this is really bad. We were telling George on the road, we're like, dude, it's kind of a rite of passage to show you our old stuff, but we're not it's kind of embarrassing. But it's cool noticing, seeing where you started and where you go after.
Oh yeah, of course. I always put a date on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got one book that went through most of the '90s, and I keep it hidden. And when every once in a while, I'll go back and I'll read it. It's like, how did I survive this? Because it was the '90s. It was when bands like Stained. When Aaron Lewis chorus was Stained, and so everybody was writing this stuff about just the most depressing shit you've ever heard, and I wrote stuff like that because I think, well, this is what's selling, right? And it's like, this is like a suicide note.
Right.
How did I ever write this? I've never felt this bad.
Yeah.
Ever. Wow.
You know, sometimes the really, really good lyrics come from a dark place sometimes, though.
Oh, of course. Okay. Attention, everybody. The drummer's about to speak.
It's gonna show
We're
it
not
to you.
responsible for this. Here you go.
I wrote a song one time when I was like younger, and my mom, like, I guess, went through my notebook, and I come home and I like it. That was open and on the table, and she goes, "George, are you okay?"
Because she read it, and all it said was bam, 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 bam.
You shouldn't be writing songs. You're a drummer.
You throw this away, and I'm gonna tell nobody this ever happened.
Did she really? She was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, it was the funniest thing ever. Like, yeah, man, you just gotta write sad songs sometimes.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Little did you know, George, we're going to bring that song back and just turn it into a country song.
You know, why not?
Right.
Give it a shot. They're
Right.
making anything in their country song nowadays. So, Colin, what's going on, man? You write too? That's a no.
I'm more of an interest. Yeah, lyrics aren't my thing. I'm currently failing an English class at JUCO, but yeah, I like writing instrumentals, and but I am in the process of writing a song, and it's the farthest I've ever gotten with lyrics, and I'm stoked to hopefully bring it on to the Rangers' next album.
It's quite good, actually.
Yeah.
It started with a hook while I was in the middle of Tucson, and it just came to my head, and I was like, whoa. So this is like the start.
So, what was the hook?
Drinking's all I've got when you're not around.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
So yeah, it's
He takes
where it
that
started.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can probably add something like lotion and porn.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
When you
yeah.
got 5 guys in one hotel room, that's kind of
I wouldn't go there though. I mean, I'd leave that part alone.
being on the road. Yeah.
Okay. So, did they make you buy a hat? Did they make you buy a cowboy hat when you joined the band? Because you weren't the cowboy hat guy before.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. Well, yeah. I went out to Boot Barn and bought a hat.
on Route 59.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I bought all my Christmas presents for my kids. Because my kids hang out at Saddle Up, and they're like, Dad, we need boots and hats. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Boots and so I made them a hat and went and bought them boots. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was a great adventure because my dad's a fiddle player. He's from around there.
Yeah.
And he's like, you gotta go get a hat. And I was like, you know what? That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So
You need to go and do that.
Yeah.
By the way, Boot Barn, we're looking for sponsors.
Yes, we are. Oh, I almost
Yeah.
missed that.
Yeah, if anybody from Boot Barn is listening to
That's
this,
right.
and they're national. I mean, that could be national
Yeah.
sponsorship.
And we're international. Our
Yeah, we are.
podcast.
Our podcast is
It's
international.
international, yes.
Yeah, we can get people in Indonesia wearing some
That's
cowboy
right.
hats and
That's
boots.
right. And boots.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
We were trying to get sponsored by Boot Barn. We were like, hey, most of us wear Cody James stuff a lot, anyways. I mean, it's
Right.
the jeans and the hats and everything. So
That's pretty much their their main thing there.
right.
isn't it?
Hey,
Yeah.
Boot Barn, we just let us know.
Yeah, right. That would be interesting.
Couldn't find any cowboy hats at Goodwill, so I couldn't believe how much expensive.
I don't know if I want to wear one from there.
From Goodwill.
Yeah.
Boots and hats from Goodwill. I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I think the first time I met you, didn't you had a show or you were doing something with like the Joliet Junior College Jazz Band or something. You walked in wearing like a vest and a suit and everything else.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can't remember what show it was, but yeah, we're always playing. Yeah.
Okay.
Fun times with the Joliet Junior College Jazz Band and combo, and we got a great program over there. So
No, they do. And by the way, Joliet Junior College, we're looking for sponsors.
That's right.
Since their building is right next door.
Since you broke our roof.
Yeah, no kids. That's right.
Yeah.
They owe us sponsorship
That's
money.
right.
Because their roof landed on this roof.
That's right.
Wow. I didn't even thought about that. We should
And
put that in a
couldn't
sales
be here for
pitch.
3 months after that.
Yeah, we should put that in a sales pitch. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, anyways, I knew I was going to... Oh, yeah. So, all born and raised Chicago area?
Yeah. So
Sir.
Yeah.
So Dan and I, brothers, obviously, we grew up in Oak Lawn, and we live in Lowell, Indiana now. And but yeah, we grew up in Oak Lawn.
When did you make that move? Just curious.
Just last year. It was
Okay.
October of last
October of 23.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Yeah, last year is 2024.
year. Yeah, Lowell's awesome. It's like a small, just one road town. We love it.
Yep.
It's great.
Yep.
So
It's growing. There's a lot more people moving in there now, but it's still pretty quiet compared to anywhere near
It's
Chicago.
looking more and more and more if the taxes keep going up here. That's for sure.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You would be surprised how many of our neighbors are literally from this area.
Yeah. Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, we just moved from the Chicago suburbs.
Yeah,
Right,
look,
right.
look at Dyer, Cherville,
Oh, yeah.
St. John.
Yep.
They're little tiny towns.
And they're getting all these
They're packed
subdivisions
now.
that are
Yeah.
building up.
Yep.
So
Packing up. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. But so you guys are all born and raised Chicago, man, because, it just begs the question, how does a bunch of guys from Chicago decide they're going to love country music and become country music artists?
I don't know. I guess.
Well,
man,
honestly, I growing up, my dad was a huge fan of like Waylon Jennings, but not like a super fan, but like he had a good handful of Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, big Johnny Cash guy, and that was kind of like our introduction into country music, kind of. So we knew that and that's the good stuff, the old stuff, right? And so for a while, we were still fans of bands like Pink Floyd and a lot of the other rock bands and stuff, and then it was we were out in Mesa, Arizona at Rooster's Country,
which
and
we just headlined that on our this Cowboy in a Bottle tour that we're on right now.
Right.
We were able to headline this place just a couple weeks ago in Mesa, which was really
Nice.
cool. But
Yeah.
everything.
But we were out there and we saw our family took us to see a show, and they're like, there's this guy named Jesse Daniel. We would really want you guys to see him. And we're thinking, well, Jesse Daniel, I've never heard of the guy. I've heard of him before. When's he? When is he from? When did he start? And they said, well, he's new. And I thought, oh no, it's going to be some like hip hop.
And keep in mind at this point, we had already had our first 2 albums out. So Dan and I, it was like we were trying to figure out whether we wanted to do country music or whether we wanted to keep doing the Southern rock kind of abstract, music we were doing.
And so I'm thinking, man, it's modern country. I'm like, okay, well, it'll be fun. It's a concert, And we go there, and they all start walking in, and they got the button-up shirts and the cowboy hats, and they start setting up a pedal steel guitar. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, like these guys mean business.
This is
like
real country.
Yeah.
So they
Not Chicago country. This is
no
real
right
country.
exactly, and they set up and they just played probably the best, like one of the best sets I've ever seen, and it was all his own music, like a handful of cover tunes, but like mostly his own stuff.
But
And
the thing was, it was cover tunes that he wanted to play. It wasn't like he was just playing like
top 40, like it was just
Yeah, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, and he wasn't doing any of that stuff.
no, he was doing just Merle Haggard
Like
tunes that he
real
wanted to do.
country music, yeah.
Yeah, I heard Georgia on a Fast Train by Billy Joe Shaver, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, right.
all right. And after that, I was hooked, and Mike and I looked over to it. We're like, wait a minute, like country music is not quite as dead as I thought it was,
That was our reticence to actually do country. We're like, is it a thing anymore? I mean, most of it's the pop stuff, like what's it going to be? And when we heard Jesse Daniel up there doing his thing, it was like, okay, this is not dead. This is very much alive. So yeah, that was.
And the fact that at the time, I mean, because he's signed to Lightning Rod Records now, but then they were 100% independent, doing everything themselves, and just their story is really inspiring. But like, just their work ethic was a huge inspiration for us. Just like these guys, they just do everything themselves, and that's kind of what we do.
So did you have to make an adjustment? You said you were kind of doing the Southern rock thing. And a lot of that stuff kind of sound, it's country, a little bit of rock and roll. Did you have to make any adjustment to get a little more, I guess, add a little more twang to the music to kind of classify yourself as more country?
Yeah.
Hence the fiddle player?
Yeah, well, actually, like we had, before Colin even joined us, our third record, Roll the Dice, which is our first foray into country music, and that actually kind of Roll the Dice is like one of our most popular songs. Like, it's cool. Like, now that we've played enough shows around here, a lot of people sing along to it, and it's really awesome. But that was our first foray into it, and we did have to kind of adjust. I mean, I always kind of sang that way, but it was less about, like, before the first 2 albums were concept albums. They're very like serious and
dramatic,
kind of brooding and dramatic, and we were trying to tell like a deep story with it. But then with Roll the Dice, we were still trying to be deep with it, but it's country music, so you have to like be like we were kind of talking about at the beginning. You gotta like have. You got to have like a dour subject, but you have to do it in a fun way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we were trying to do at Roll the Dice. And so yeah, we did have to.
Specifically with honky tonk music, which is mostly like I would consider us more of like a honky tonk is what our like main
Yeah,
genre
it's like a
would be.
subgenre of country music, I guess, if you consider.
Like honky tonk rockabilly is really what we do. And roll the dice. The biggest learning curve for me was getting the chicken picking on the guitar down, and that was the biggest thing. And that's I'm still working on new stuff, but that was the biggest learning curve.
Well, I've got a million troubles, girl, and you ain't one. Tipping back that devil's deuce and the wicked desert sun. I've got a mind to stay right here, just taking my time. So now I think I'll play my cards and head on down the line. And head on down the line. Roll the dice. Now I'm singing my gosh, snake eyes. Roll the dice. Roll once, roll twice. I look down.
Actually, can I want to add a statement to that. We
No.
do honky tonk, but I think we do a lot of genres, and we do a lot of Texarkana or Tex-Mex music as
Yeah.
well as a lot of Western ballads as well.
We
Yeah,
do.
that's
I think I don't know if we're trying to go for a niche, but those three are our niche.
Yeah, I would agree with
Genres.
that. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Just want to throw that in there.
No,
'cause
no.
I think it's super cool.
No, 100%.
Yeah, no, our set is pretty diverse for being a country band. I mean, we've got like a blues song in there sometimes, and we got some like real like almost like Western swing. Like the Courtside Saloon that's a song off Way of the West. It's our second record, but the way we play it live is really like a Western swing Wild West ballad, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, we kind of with Roll the Dice was kind of our first step into country, so it was a learning curve for me, and then how to dial the tone in for the Telecaster and how they run it, and starting to do my own thing with it. But we really kind of came into our own with this last album, Cowboy in a Bottle.
Yeah, we really put not that we didn't put our heart and soul into Roll the Dice, but with Cowboy in a Bottle, we were able to just really we had even more influence from a bunch of other artists, and now it's we're able to put our whole thing into it. And that was George when you came in, because that was play the drums on it, and I think that was such an awesome thing to have that extra dynamic, to have you in there and had you add your own parts on it. So I don't know if you want to speak to that, or your experience with that album.
Once again, everybody, the drummer has a microphone.
Yeah.
Who brought the bail money?
Yeah.
I've got 911 dialed up.
No, I knew they were a real deal country band when I came and did it. When you're a drummer, it's both a blessing and a curse. You play everything everywhere. It's just part of the job. And I played country, I played everything, and I sat down and I heard the record and had the roots of the country music that I liked, that I enjoyed, and they let me do what I want, which is a bad idea, but it was good for my creative process, because then you check yourself, and the country's not really about the drums, but they're playing good parts, so it was cool. It was good to set the scene.
Absolutely.
So, were you into country music before you met these guys?
I was into everything. My dad was a drummer too, and he said, "Hey, you listen to everything, know everything, do it all." And then, I heard Willie Nelson. I'm like, that's the guy. That. But it was tough. I grew up in Mokina and Frankfurt, and they like to drive big trucks, and they'd go to Tweeter Center all the time to watch the new country guys. And I never really understood that, because I was the guy who was listening to Willie Nelson CDs in my car.
Let's talk about the new country music for a little bit. How old are you guys, by the way?
27.
27?
And I'm 29, 28. Be 29 in June.
Okay.
Colin,
I am 21.
the child.
Jeez, 21. Man.
I'm 23.
Do you have a navel, or you come out of a test tube?
Something like that. I think they said a C-section.
Yeah. So, wow. Okay. So you'll remember this. Back in the 90s. We're old enough to remember it. Back in the 90s.
I remember the 70s.
Yeah, me too. I do too. Isn't that wow? Yeah. In fact, on the way here, I was listening to some old yacht rock. I love yacht rock.
I know you do.
Ambrosia and stuff. Ace. Yeah. But anyways, So back in the 90s, you could turn on VH1 and MTV when they still actually had music videos, and a country video would come up, and everybody in LA was going, man, where'd all the metal musicians go? And all you had to do was look at a country video from the 90s to find out where they all went. I swear, there were bands that looked like if Motley Crue took their makeup off, all of a sudden they're a country band. I mean, seriously, the big hair and the painted fingernails and the whole bit, but they played really good. They played really good country music. And then you go into the 2000s, right, and stuff like that, and then you've got, okay, now it's really starting to sound pop. And I think that whole thing kind of started with Shania Twain. Right.
Yeah.
Shania Twain, and she was married to Mutt. What's his name? Mutt Lang, right?
Yeah.
And it became really pop. Then all of a sudden it becomes hip hop, right?
Right.
And that brings us up to like the last month. So what did you guys think of the CMA Award show?
I didn't really watch it.
I don't really pay any attention to it, honestly.
No.
I don't. Honestly, and the reason is because it's like if I felt that it were a lot more like country music, I would have had interest in it. But it's like the guys and the gals that I think are doing like, and listen, country music is really whatever you call it. Honestly, like if the masses are like, this guy's country, well, I guess so. I mean, it's like if you start nailing, like really putting it down to what it is and what it isn't, it's like it's just the kind of country music that I like, and it's not really anything.
I would say that there is like in the hardcore base though of country music, I would say that people are like the modern stuff. That's why they separate it so much. That's why there's, they call it pop country, they call it rap country,
sure,
right? Whatever.
Yep.
And but to piggyback on Dan's point, the guys that we follow and listen to, like, they're never on those CMA awards. I mean, the only guy that's going to get close, I don't even know if he was, there's a guy named Zach Top who's going around right now. Zach Top is really, really good.
Didn't see him on the awards. I didn't watch the entire awards show either. I watched what my kids wanted to watch.
Yeah, well, and and that's the thing, Zach Top, I mean, it's like his sound is like straight out of the 90s. So it's like he's very Alan Jackson-like. He's very, and so the traditional stuff is coming back. I think a lot of the country music base, you've got a lot of people who support independent country music, which is amazing. That's like huge. Well,
that's the thing, and that's kind of what I was getting at, because every single musical genre has kind of gone through some type of an evolution.
Yes.
And now we're in the age of, especially like rock and roll music. Traditional rock and roll music is underground nowadays.
Yep.
The guys that don't want to have the guest rapper in exchange of a guitar solo, right? And the funny thing is, they're not calling themselves rock and roll because somebody's going to shit all over it as soon as you start calling it rock and roll,
exactly,
because they think Katy Perry's rock and roll, and she really isn't, right? So they're making up names nowadays. They're calling it Americana, or they're calling it garage music, or whatever. But it's traditional rock and roll, and I think country's kind of going through that.
Yeah, exactly.
Same kind of thing right now.
I think a lot of people are getting really, getting tired of the new stuff. I feel like because a lot of it, to me anyway, I know that like if you listen to an artist long enough, you can differentiate them. But a lot of the time, people hear it and they're like, "Man, it's just like I can't." It just everything that's being released just sounds like the last album that came out.
Yep.
I think we're currently going through a time that music hasn't seen before. Music is really being controlled by the masses of the public with social media, and I think people are finally able with Spotify to find an artist that they truly like and they can truly support this artist. Like, it's no longer going to be mainstream in the coming years. Like, it is, but I think just we're going to see more smaller genres, just smaller genres that are going to be more popular. It's not going to be like big pop that's going to be popular.
I would say it'll be less corporate and more independent.
Yeah, 100%. Because
I don't think I agree. Like, the money's always won. The money always wins.
Well, see, that's the comment I was just about to say. It's not that the people are controlling; it's the money.
It's the money
controlling.
And listen, if they can even like, this is working.
The people are the pawns.
Yeah,
and really, it's it's always been money, but to your point, go back to the 50s when recording was brand spanking new, right? It was about what record was bought or sold, right? Which dictates into the dollars. So, you still had a little bit, like right here in Chicago, you had a great record company, Chess Records, right? And Leonard Chess, he specifically knew what he wanted to record. He liked blues music. he liked black musicians, and that's what he did. And he was a white Jewish guy. But he absolutely, that's the music that he wanted, and that's the only music that he would record until he came across a fantastic group from England called the Rolling Stones. But they played American blues music and kind of changed it a little bit. But when people were actually going to stores and buying records, and I don't think any of you here have experienced that, as actually having to go to a store to buy a record, unless it's like a vinyl shop or whatever. You don't really understand it. It's the people that were going there and buying the records that dictated into the dollars, and then the studios were like, okay, well, guess what? We're doing this from now on because this is what the 16-year-olds are buying. And it really was 16-year-olds were the demographic that they were going after.
Right.
I think for the longest time we had the streaming hit.
Yeah, right.
And everything was streaming. Nobody was buying nothing. I remember when Best Buy dumped all their CDs and quit selling CDs.
I used to work for Best Buy. I remember when they did that.
Yeah, and it was like, now what? It's all streaming. Right. And the only ones getting rich are the social media places. Right. Spotify, Apple, they're getting rich. I mean, I know guys that got music out there.
Well, I think the point is that like maybe yeah. So the corporate music is always going to be powerful. It's always going to be there. But I think there's a lot more opportunity, on Colin, to your point, for independent artists to thrive because of social media. So there's a lot more independent groups and a lot more independent bands that are known about because of, the boom of technology. There's a lot of bad stuff to it. Don't get me wrong. Streaming is, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to, put my song on Spotify and get rich off it. No. Like it's good to get numbers on Spotify. That's where everybody listens. That's great. That's how people listen to your music. But as a band, it's like you make your money and you pay your bills and do all that by playing shows and, having merch and, being on the road and doing it grassroots,
And having TikTok.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
TikTok's making all these artists blow up. Like, you're probably going to hear about Zach Top coming up in the future. I mean, he's just blown up. Yeah,
Zach Top is everywhere.
I mean, you're probably hearing him on the radio now, but you just don't know who he is. So
yeah,
I recommend checking him out. He's super cool.
Yeah. Like for every stream on Spotify, the artist gets like 1/10 of a penny.
Oh yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah. I got a royalty check from Apple Music one time. It was 31 cents. It was. It's like. It cost them more money to send me the check.
Right, exactly. Just keep it.
Well, a lot of people have a really soured relationship with Spotify, and you'll see a lot of guys in the independent scene actually will come out and they'll kind of they complain about Spotify, and sure, could they pay the artists more? Probably, they probably could. But the thing is, it's like Spotify is what everyone's using, and it's like, and if I don't put my music on Spotify because I have problems with how they pay artists, sure, anyone, you have the right to take that stand,
right?
But you're hurting yourself because that's where most people listen to music,
right?
And anyone can post to Spotify, which is awesome.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, I think they said there's tens of thousands of songs that get uploaded every day.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't do that back in the day, right?
No,
you couldn't just look up some guy, and find his music and
right.
Yeah,
that is definitely easier to find anybody, wherever, whoever. I mean, you could fall in love with a band that's from some small town in South Dakota, and you can get their music and the whole bit.
I still want to go to a record store.
Yeah, I do.
Walk in, smell the patchouli incense burning, and start looking through the bins.
There is something about that they're missing a little bit of the heart because I mean, you and I, we've talked about this so many times before. When you had a favorite band and that band released an album, it would come out on Tuesday, right?
Yep.
One of your friends or all of you would go to that record store, you buy that album, you only had enough money to buy one of them, right? And you'd go over to that one person's house and y'all lay around on his bedroom floor for the next 2 days, smoking weed and drinking Coke, listening to that album. And you'd pass the jacket around. Everybody read every single word on that album jacket. I mean, it was a spiritual experience.
It was.
It's supposed to get sitting at a computer, click, 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 click. This is cool. And you start flipping through stuff.
What a time.
The best part is you're giving your time to that. Then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you do Spotify, it's like, I'm going to put it on my phone, put it on in the background. When you're listening to a record, you're listening. To a record.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the biggest reason we wanted it. We pressed our last album on vinyl.
Oh, that's great.
Was that we wanted it to be like I feel like that's the right way to do it. I don't want to just I know they say, for your metrics, you should release a single every 6 months or every 6 weeks or whatever they say. And then after that, you just compile them all into an album and just release the album. It's like, I could release a few singles, but I want to release an album. I want to release records. I want to make albums, do it the right way. That's what our whole thing is. My goal is to every album release, even if we do an EP, press it on a 7-inch vinyl. I love vinyl records. I think they're really cool, and kind of like what George was saying is that's almost really showing the album some respect. Is that it's you don't
it's the artistry.
Exactly. You don't have a video to go along with it. Sometimes online you do, but if you're listening to the record, it's you're sitting there, you pour a glass of whiskey and just sit down and listen to the album, and enjoy it for what it is.
Right.
I don't need an album to pour a glass of
whiskey. We just need Wednesday. We just need Wednesday and a podcast. Yeah, that's right.
Because when you got your flask, man.
I know. I was told not to bring it.
Cool, because when you put an album on, when you put a vinyl on, it's it becomes an event. You just sit there and you sit and listen to it. It's not like skip. Skip. It's no, you have to listen and appreciate every song. And then that way it's with me, when people say, "Oh, have you heard this song?" I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll check it out." But then I listen to a whole album of whoever did it if I like it. Because I'm like, well, okay, I want to be able to appreciate this.
Absolutely.
Because then when you go to the live show and you see this artist, you can appreciate, oh, hey, I know that song too. I know that song too.
The artists, when they put an album together, I speak from experience with all of us having done just Cowboy in a Bottle.
I love that name, by the way. Cowboy in a Bottle.
She walked up to the bar, cowboy in a bottle. She just looked down my way as I sat docile. I asked her, what do you need? She said, I'm lonely too. I guess this cowboy in a bottle will have to do. I sat alone on the stool, with my head down in the glass. Man, I'm gonna waste your time, I got trouble to laugh. Just to walk on by like all the rest. I just need some time to cry as I'm rest. She walked up to the bar, cowboy in a bottle. She just looked down my way as I sat docile. I asked her, what do you need? She said, I'm lonely too. I guess this cowboy in a bottle will have to do. Come on, Dan.
Immediately, I'm thinking to myself, okay, a bunch of guys from Chicago, all right, not real cowboys, right? But if you have the right something in a bottle, anybody can be a cowboy.
That's right. Right.
That's a pretty unique name. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, but the thing is, it's when we're putting the album together, it's not just we have 10 songs, so we just throw them in a bin, shake it around, and release it. It's we place the songs in order a specific way, because we want the album to be listened to start to finish in this order.
Tell a story.
Mm-hmm. And it's exactly. And even if it's not a concept album, it's still, this is how we think it should be. And actually, a fun fact here is that when we released the album on our digital streaming and the CD and stuff, we had it in a specific order, but the vinyl, you only get 44 minutes total, on like 22 on each side. So we had to reorder a few of the songs for the vinyl.
Yeah, right. Right.
And it's like almost exactly 22 minutes per side. So we were this close.
We were like 20 seconds shy of not being able to do it.
Yeah.
But
or just have one of them be
and the thing
digital.
is, on the subject of like telling a story, it's like we still like tell stories in our songs. Like we're storytellers. That's actually my forte in songwriting.
That's why people love
stories.
country music.
Exactly.
Is the story.
And so we have a couple of story songs on this last one. One of them is a Western ballad called Luke and Luna. That's like a fun one. But I think my favorite story song on that album is actually about a real event that happened in Oak Lawn in 1967. It was the tornado, the EF4.
Yeah.
And so we have a song called Winds of 67 that is about that whole thing. Dan wrote the song. It's great. And you know, we wanted to like pay tribute to the people who lost their lives growing up in Oak Lawn. It's like, you know, that's kind of,
you know, you hear it, like, especially, you know, and George, you know, him and his dad own Primos in Oak Lawn 95th Street. So that's like, they hear stories about the tornado all the time. But
it was April 21st in the warm Friday sun. Soon after that, it was overcast and the weatherman came undone. There was strangeness in the air that day that no one could describe. But just as soon as the wind whipped up, the nightmare came alive. They came rolling in like a freight train, and all we could do is watch. 16 miles of wicked wild, we reached at 100 knots. From Palos Hills to Chicago Ridge and on to Old Oak Lawn, where once there stood 100 homes, everything was gone. From the winds of 67, you'll never see it coming till it's gone. Tomorrow is never given.
Wait, you own Primos?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
So people come in all the time, like twice a week, people talk to me about it.
Yeah.
So when I heard that song and we recorded it in a church in Oak Lawn, it just was like, oh my God. It's been in my family my whole life. I've worked there since I could walk.
Wow.
And I've been talking to people about that exact moment. And it was like, to be able to bring that to life, it was very cool.
Because my grandparents, we grew up in the house that they sold my mom and dad. And my grandma would always tell us the story about what they saw. And it's like each person, it's like when you have so many people in one area that have a unique story about this one thing, and it's all from different angles, from different perspectives. Like some people, you know, lost family members. Some people knew people who lost family members. And it's like, and they say like, you know, there was just something about that day where it's like, you know, it was just you knew something bad was coming, but you just didn't know what.
Well, and there was 58 people who lost their lives in that tornado, and every time I'm at a show, we always toast the 58 when we play that song.
Right.
And so, like, we just made a lyric video for it and put it up, and there's a group on Facebook that it's all people that experienced the Oak Lawn tornado, and knowing that there was 58 people, it's like hearing from people like. My father was one of those 58. My mother was one of those 58.
Wow.
Connecting with those people, like after writing that song, like that song is like, it's a part of our lives. You know, we play it all on the road. We play it, you know, whatever. It's like we hear it so much. We play it every show.
Yeah.
Being able to actually meet with the people who it actually affected, like the actual people. It's not just like kind of this phantom thing that you sing about.
Right.
When you meet the flesh and blood people who are actually
involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's really something else. Yeah.
By the way, Primos, the podcast is looking for sponsors.
We are. We give good commercial.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. We do good commercial. We do.
Right.
We do. So, what's next for you guys? Or a question I like to ask everybody is, what has to happen in 2025 for you guys to consider this to be a very successful year for you and a step forward?
Okay. So we have our Cowboy in a Bottle tour that we're constantly adding dates to as we go. I mean, we've got the way I view success is like if we can double what we did last year, even at a minimum, like that's great. So we have a bunch more like zones and areas of the country we're touring this year. I mean, last year we went to, on our Wild West tour, we went to Texas and Arizona. It was our first time we ever toured, and that was awesome. This year we started off in Arizona a couple weeks ago. We're doing some dates in Ohio, Indianapolis, Wisconsin in the spring months, and then we're doing Texas again in May. We're going out to Wyoming and Montana, Nebraska, South Dakota. We're doing all that in July. We're doing
we're heading to the East Coast in August.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, we were working on some new music. We've got a lot of stuff that we want to do. It just as much as we can do, and as many places as we can tour, as many people that we can share our music with across this country. Like, that's a successful year for us. Looks like, basically like it's shaping up to be that. I mean, already the amount of shows we have booked just by itself is already better than last year.
Where can people see you around here? You got?
I was going to say, do you play around here?
Yeah, we do. It's kind of spread out. It's not all the time, so that way we're not overplaying the area. That way everybody can get a chance to see us. So we got a couple of shows.
Cadillac Grooves kind of does that.
Cadillac Grooves.
No, but we got let's see, we're playing in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Friday, and then we got.
So you guys are playing Sweetwater?
Yep,
yeah,
their lunchtime thing. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. No, we did
That's
that.
Cool
we did that last year in April, I think. That was pretty cool. So they wanted to have us back this year, so we're doing that. And then we're playing Smoky Joe's in Crete. That's one of our favorite little places.
When's that?
That's this Saturday. Yeah,
this Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. What is that?
Saturday the 22nd.
Yeah. So we got.
That was a great show.
Yeah, we get.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was a great
this
show.
comes out
That was
next
fantastic.
week.
They were great. You should have seen them all.
Yeah, that was a great
Missed you guys there.
Oh, I got so drunk.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's a party.
It's the last time we have Ray at one of our shows.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then we've got we're playing Base Camp in Lyle on February 28th. And then the last time you guys will be able to see us in town until June is the Law Office in Yorkville. That's one of our favorite venues. We're really trying to get a lot of people out to that show. So anybody listening, that's going to be your last time to come see us live until June. We got a guy by the name of Preston McCabe coming to open the show. He's from Southern Indiana. This kid is like ridiculously good. So and he's doing all of his own stuff. He's going to blow up. So you got to get there to see him. Like I said, last time it's going to see us until June. We're playing Carol's Pub downtown in June. We come back from after we come back from Texas. But so that's where we're going to be like in the next upcoming weeks. Okay. So that's
so we do play around here. Just as we try to play around here as often as we play everywhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got to go where the music takes you.
Exactly. Right. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
So where can people find you if they're looking for you on social media?
We're on Facebook, just the Rangers Band, and then on Instagram, the Rangers Band. Our band name is the Rangers, but it's the Rangers Band on most of our socials. Our website is just therangersband.com. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get your music, all that. We're on YouTube, is kind of what we were talking about before we started recording. YouTube is something that I think a lot of artists don't do enough with. Having live content, having, stuff like that. It's really awesome to have a library of just live videos from shows. We've got a great videographer by his company's called Goat Alert. He's incredible. One of the best out there. If anybody's looking for a videographer, he's the guy. So we got a lot of great stuff from him on our YouTube channel. Just look up the Rangers Band on YouTube. We actually just played the first ever Americana Fest at the Roxy Theater a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, with Laura.
Yeah, we headlined that. That was great. They did a great job with that. Our whole performance is recorded and mixed and mastered. It's got full studio audio and everything, and we've got that on YouTube as well. So
I have to ask, you guys were there. I wanted to get there, but I couldn't. I had a gig. Who ripped the door off? The door that goes down to the green room.
It was us.
The door was ripped off the hinges.
No, it was not me. It was Colin. He's mumbling
Always
and
the drummer.
and I'm right behind Colin. And I go and I feel the door falling on me.
So he's
already down the stairs. He's already down the stairs. My girlfriend looks at me. She's like, "What the fuck? What the beep, George?" And I'm like, "It was not me."
You guys literally ripped the door up. I thought you were going to give me a generic answer. Oh, the thing there, sometime in the middle of the day. But it was actually you guys.
No.
And Jess, we found him.
It was George.
We got him. Jess, we got him.
George.
Jess, we got him. You were looking to where to send the bill. We found him for you,
George.
Jess.
Hey, Nobody's gonna say how I sat there for like 15 minutes trying to fix it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Alan was just trying to say that we blew the doors off the place.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, and my whiskey was downstairs. So I was
Yeah.
And that was a big ass door too. Holy crap!
the whiskey was calling. I don't know.
Yeah, it is calling. That's why we're getting the hell out of here, guys. It was great talking to you.
Yes, it was.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
We got to
Yes,
go.
thank
We
you
got to
very
go
much.
next door and start drinking bourbon.
That sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Eventually.
Eventually.
We had a lot of
Yeah.
songs about bourbon.
Yeah,
We do.
Oh, a country music band writing a lot of songs about bourbon. The hell you say?
Not at all. If you like bourbon, the Rangers music is for you. I'll just tell you that.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks,
Alrighty.
gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. The Rangers.
Good group of guys.
Yeah, it was.
I was surprised to see Colin.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a member of the band. I've known him since he was about 18 years old.
Yeah, every so often we'll surprise you with somebody like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, he's here.
Yeah.
Somebody you know.
Yeah, who the heck? I mean, the first time I met him, like I said, we were doing blues and jazz and
That's
stuff.
cool.
And he's a fiddle player, and now he's touring with these guys. He's
Yeah.
doing what he wanted to do. So
Another original band.
yeah,
I'm loving it.
fantastic.
I'm
How
loving it.
refreshing.
Yeah, and they're really touring.
Yeah, they are.
They're not just playing around here. They are touring.
They're
man,
actually doing it. So
which is awesome.
good for them.
I wish them a lot of luck. Hopefully, well, I saw him last weekend at Smokey Joe's.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I saw him.
Oh, okay.
So it was a good show.
Oh,
show.
good. Excellent.
Alrighty. Okay, then. As usual, thank you for listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast. Check us out every Tuesday for another exciting episode. See ya.
The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast is edited by Paul Martin. Theme song courtesy of M&R Rush. The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast does not own the rights to any of the music heard on the show. The music is used to promote the guests that are featured.
Chicago.